Ever wondered how much delivery drivers working for companies like Uber Eats, Just Eat and Deliveroo make after expenses? After everything's been paid for, how much do self-employed delivery drivers actually make? Well, I've been tracking my income and my expenses for the past month, and I'm going to try and give you the most in-depth breakdown of exactly how much I earn as a full-time delivery driver working for Deliveroo, Uber and Just Eat. I will also show you how much you can earn if you work for more hours or less hours. We'll look at insurance, fuel, everything that it costs to become a delivery driver, including the cost of the vehicle itself. But I must say, before we go any further, the main perk about working for these companies has got to be the flexibility. You can literally work any hours that you want. I completely work around my children, so sometimes I have to do crazy hours like 7 till 9 and then go back to work after the school is finished. Sometimes I work during the school hours. Sometimes I work a whole day throughout the weekend. And it's so nice to not have a boss there to tell you which hours that you need to do. You're completely your own boss. You decide your own working pattern that works around yourself, your family life, and your goal. So then this is my KPI tracker, and we're looking at the month of October 2025. Now, the first thing I need to let you know is one thing I do is set myself standards. So my KPIs or my standards I like to set myself is that when the orders come through, I evaluate each order, and I try to make sure that the orders are suitable and they're pushing me towards my goal. So my goals is to always hit above £15 an hour. That's my bare minimum. And my pound per mile minimum is £1.50. You can see here, any point where it goes red is obviously where I'm falling behind my goals. And where it's green, that means it's been a very, very good day. So a very, very good day for me is anything over £20 an hour or £2 per mile. The main way that I've achieved better days is by keeping this one up. So my pounds per order. So when the orders come through, I analyze each order. So the first thing I'm looking at is the pickup location. Is this a location that's nearby? Is it a location where I believe they're going to have the order ready in a reasonable time? Is there going to be parking restrictions? I personally don't tend to deliver from town centres until sort of after 6 o'clock when things have died down and the traffic wardens have gone home. The next thing I'm looking at is where is the drop-off? Am I likely to encounter lots of traffic during this drop-off? But the most important thing probably is the amount per order, obviously. Now, what I've realised is that if I try and keep this on a running average of above £5 an hour, these targets here start to work well for themselves. So just to let you know, green is obviously good, red is bad, and the orange ones is where it's been a good day. It's not a bad day, and white is where I'm just plodding along. So as you can see, there's a bit of a running theme with Sundays. For example, Sundays are a very, very good day for me. But anyway, let's go down and we'll go through a little bit more where my money is coming from. And then I'll let you know in a bit exactly how much I've made, including, as I said, the expenses. So you get to see my actual profit as well. So for the month of October, the majority of my money is actually coming from Deliveroo, with about about a third for each of the other ones. So Stuart, just in case you don't know, they run Tesco, Whoosh and a few other services in my town, or in my city, should I say. So they make up 16% of my earnings, with Just Eat and Uber making around about 21 and 22% respectively. But the majority of the bulk of the orders that I'm accepting are from Deliveroo. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best orders, but I'm getting the majority of my orders through them. And then we're looking at the pounds per hour by company type. So who's paying me on average the most? So it used to be that Just Eat used to pay really, really well. By far the best platform. However, the other companies are catching up. As you can see here, Deliveroo and Uber Eats at $6.44 and $6.63 on average are actually really catching up with Just Eat. And the other thing to say is that with the Just Eat platform, this 676 figure is a tiny bit misleading to a certain extent, because generally Just Eat are really, really bad at making sure that the orders are ready on time. They're not sending the orders to the restaurant or the grocers at the appropriate time to make sure that it's like a seamless delivery. So when it comes to how much I'm earning per hour per company, it's really difficult to look into because the companies don't really give you very much information. But I would say probably at the moment, Deliveroo and Uber are doing much better job than Just Eat. Stuart, on the other hand, if I could do Stuart all day long, my life would be great. Obviously, with it only being one company that I work for, and I only pick up from one Tesco's for the majority of the day. I do the one in the town centre, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, if there's some orders there. But yeah, if I could do it all day long, I'd be laughing because their fees are really good. However, the volume of orders is not there. And that's where Deliveroo, for me, has become sort of like my bread and butter app, so to speak. Majority of the day, there's orders on Deliveroo. And if I cycle through them, I can find an order that I want. What I do tend to do as well is I don't tend to do any double orders. So what I've noticed over the years is that all the big companies, especially when it's quiet, if they're offering you double, they're only popping on sort of like an extra quid, maybe an extra £1.50. Now, obviously, I want to hit £15 an hour. So when they're sending through these doubles, or when they're trying to add one on, I always think, is it really worth it? Because if they're only paying me £1, minimum wage being £12, you're looking at about 20p per minute just to hit minimum wage. So, for example, if Deliveroo are offering me an extra order and it's only a quid, the way that I look at it is that, is this order likely to take me an extra 5 minutes? Is it going to be an extra 5 minutes of waiting at the restaurant? Is it going to be an extra 5 minutes of travel? And if that is the case, I do not do it. And generally, I'm not doing really any doubles, apart from when the platforms are surging, because quite often the doubles become a lot more worth it. Especially Uber Eats, at times they might give you a £7. They've got this thing about £7. So they give you like a £7 order, and then they might offer you a second order for another £7, which not always going that much further. So that's my bit on double orders and my pounds per order. So then these graphs are looking for patterns. And I've gone through these graphs a little bit. And as I said to you before, the patterns I've noticed is obviously there's a spike at the beginning of the month. This is obviously due to people having a bit more money, feeling more relaxed about how they're spending their money, more likely to get delivery. Also, what I've noticed is that Sundays is by far my best day. I don't tend to work very many Saturdays anymore, because what I've noticed over time is that Saturdays actually are a really bad day to be working. Friday nights and Saturdays can be terrible. This because the restaurants are busy. They don't always have the staff to fulfill all the orders in a timely manner. So I find that Sundays are the best day, followed by the majority of the weekdays and Saturday being the worst day. So a bit of an overview for you. So this month, the month of October, last month, I should say, sorry, with Deliveroo, I made £1,080.13. With Uber Eats, I made £547.48p. And with Just Eat, I made £567.54p. Stuart, again, excuse me, Tesco Whoosh, £430.82p, making my total gross income £2,625.97. Now, it is important just to point out that this is not my only form of income. This is about probably 80% of my income. So there is scope, if you want to work full time, to make more than this doing delivery driving. I think this is probably representative of around about 35 hours a week. So the hours I worked in the month of October, 149 hours. I drove 1,535.6 miles. And my pounds per order was 666, so keeping well above the £5 that I excuse me, said was my goal. My pounds per mile, 171. That keeps me nice and profitable. Make sure that my expenses aren't eating too much into my pay. This is actually really good for delivery, for driving in general at the moment. I'm seeing a lot of taxi drivers struggling to hit over £1 a mile at times. My pounds per hour, £17.62. Now, in theory, this all looks great. However, there's probably a bit more expenses involved in this than you might actually think. So what's it cost to run my delivery car? How much is this eating into my income? So expenses over here, look. Fuel for the month, £224.38. Insurance, so I'm through Zego. You pay Zego, you pay them a deposit, and then 10 months. I always do it annually. It works out so much cheaper than doing hourly, or at least it does for me. So my insurance for the month, high reward insurance, and my SDP comes to £144.58. Road tax just £2.50. It's £30 a year for me. Recovery costs, so that's if I have a breakdown. The RAC are charging me £11.83 per month. Depreciated vehicle costs. Now, when I bought the car, it's generally just for deliveries, so I'm including 100% of that. We've got another vehicle for family life. So my depreciated vehicle costs is £83.33 per month. And how I've calculated that is I've depreciated the cost of the car, which was £4,000 over 4 years. So that's £1,000 a year divided by 12 is £83.33. Maintenance, oil, etc. I think I speak for most delivery drivers when I tell you that maintenance is a big thing. Every single year I'm spending probably at least £1,000, between £1,000 and £1,500 on maintenance. And then I'm constantly topping up my oil. I got like a bit of a car that needs a lot of oil, but there we go. Maintenance, oil, etc. £120.17. Now, QuickBooks I use to calculate my tax to make it nice and easy for my tax return at the end of the year, £14. And then I run a separate mobile phone for work, just because it makes it a bit nicer to keep work away from family life. £24.97. So that brings my total expenses to £625.76. Now, let me know in the comments, is that a bit more than you were expecting? Because when I was adding it up, it came to a bit more than I thought it was, surprisingly. So let's have a look at my profitability. How much am I making after expenses? So my income, as I said, is 2,625.97. My outgoing is 625.76, meaning my total net profit for the month is £2,000.21. My net pound per order is 508, pound per mile £1.30, and my pound per hour, my actual pounds per hour, is 13.42. See, after expenses, really delivery driving has the amazing perk, as I said before, of being the ultimate flexibility sort of like hack. However, the pay is not really amazing once you take all these expenses away. And I can tell you, for a lot of people, these expenses probably be a bit higher as well. So £13.42 is about £1 more than minimum wage. If it wasn't for the flexibility, there's no way I'd be doing it. Let's put it that way. But the flexibility makes it really, really worth it for me. So if I upscaled this to see what this month would look like, if I did this month every month for the rest of the year, my gross earnings would be £31,511.64. My net would be £24,002.52. So that's technically around about what I'm earning, about 24 grand a year for delivery driving alone, that is. But what if you want to do less hours or more hours than me? So this is the sort of an estimated amount of what you are likely to possibly make per year based on 30 hours, 35, 40, 45 hours, 50, 55, and 60 hours. So this is based on you having 4 weeks off a year like you would in an employed job. So if you were only going to commit 30 hours to it, you're looking at just over 19 grand. 35 hours, you're looking at 22.5. 40-hour week, 25,774. 45-hour week at 28,996, so just shy of 29 grand. To start doing above 30 grand, you're looking at doing 50 hours a week, so 32,218 pounds. And then if you're willing to really put the hours in and go 60 hours a week, I know some delivery drivers that do even more than this and are on over 50, but they are putting in 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, which to me is mad. I couldn't do that. So a 60-hour week, I would estimate that you're looking to earn, after expenses, £38,661.78. But guys, please let me know what you guys think. Is this more or less than you would have imagined? And if you're already a delivery driver, how am I stacking up to the sort of money that you're making?